Chris, how you doing? Thank you so much for including your work. Looks like you got some ideas for your logo. I love this. The closed counter for the A represented by the question mark. Nice visual substitution there. I think that's good stuff. We got the logo concept, and you've got some, looks like some digital renderings of the screens, but right now we're not indicative of what is required for this assignment. So I'm going to jump right over to Project 2, Week 2, Project 2 mobile app prototype begin stage, and we can see what is due here. So basically you need to establish your personas and scenarios. I recommend 3 personas and 1 scenario for each persona, and I'll go over that more in a second. We need wireframe sketches of all screens. So jumping to the that digital, that you're jumping ahead a little bit. So again, back to that course announcement. Where did it go? There it is. So we want wireframe sketches of all screens. Create a storyboard of the scenarios, whereas the user when they are confronting. You might consider 2 storyboards for each scenario. The first showing a scenario depicting the problem without your app, and then the second showing the scenario depicting the user overcoming the problem by using your app. Okay, so now I want to jump over to the course announcement. Specifically, we're going to look at this announcement, and this is welcome to week 2. So over here, again, I kind of summarize to clarify the project so far. This is what you should have so far, and this should all start. You should start compiling this in your process book. Remember, the process book is one separate project, and then the prototype is another separate project. So all the work that you're doing on the prototype is to be reflected in the process book, right? So let me show you some examples of what we're looking for. So, okay, so let's see. So target audience, 3 main functions of the app, and competitors. That's stuff that you should just have in your research. So that should be included. Now, the competition, I think it would be best to show 3 examples of competitors, including maybe a shot of what the app looks like, the home screen, and then talk about 3 different things in your competitive analysis. Talk about the pros and cons of the visual interface, the function of the app, and its usability. Okay, then you're going to establish personas. I recommend, and 1 scenario per each persona. So I recommend 3 personas. That means you would have 3 scenarios, and that means you would have storyboards reflecting the scenarios for each persona. Okay, and then you're going to create your paper prototype. So let's take a look at what some of this might look like. So in this example, I'm going to show you, but this just doesn't want to, this is not working very well at all. For some reason, this is really getting bogged down. So bear with me for 1 second. Oh, geez, this is horrible. Anyway, so here's what we have. So we have the waste not app, right? Then we have the problem is defined, the solution is defined, and this is the process book. We have 3 main functions and features. They have the target market defined very, in a very detailed way. Target market, and we have competitors. And here's where in the competition, this is where I'd like you to show some examples. Like here's a great shot of a nice page for comparative analysis. So here's an example of the competition. Here's the name, and then here's the analysis of the functionality and features, the visual design, and usability. And I'd like you to include all of those in your work. Then we move on to the personas. Note each persona is really, really demographically different. You want a very, very wide array of personas to represent a wide variations in demographic characteristics of the basic users of the app itself. Okay, the wireframe sketches are really important. We need to sketch each screen in the app. Okay, all screens. I recommend 10 to 12 screens. Okay, and the reason this is so important right now is you want to get these down because the wireframe sketches, you'll cut out the wireframe sketches and you'll start developing your user testing. So basically, here's paper prototypes. Okay, these are the basic wireframes, right? So you slip the screen in behind the phone, okay, the mock-up of the phone. That way you can do your user testing. Be sure you watch the videos in the course resources for week 2, because it shows user testing sessions and how they're done. But basically what you would do is ask a question. So, point to a button where you would add, you would set up your user profile. Then they would point to a button. If they get it right, you would change the screen to the user profile screen, ask them another question, and have them make the next selection. If they don't select it, you would record that and maybe consider redesigning that page if they get the basic commands incorrect. Okay, so that would be your paper prototypes. Finally, I want to talk about the storyboards. So again, you establish the scenario. I'm sorry, the persona, right? Defining the characteristics of the person that's going to be using the app. Then you set up, based on the persona, you set up a scenario. That's like a written synopsis of how the user will interact with the app. And the scenario is basically a verbal depiction of what you're going to be showing in the storyboard. So the storyboard is the scenario visualized. And this is really interesting. This is example 2, and these are in the course announcements under week 2 assignment examples. But example 2 storyboards are excellent because it shows the scenario, okay? So here's the scenario, right? And then it shows it shows a visual depiction of the scenario without the app, where the problem exists, and then how the scenario is addressed with the app and how the problem is solved by using the app, okay? So Marcus, we have a little bit of work to do here. I think we're pretty much underdeveloped at this point. So let's go ahead and, where the heck, oh, here I am, yeah. So let's go ahead and get all this stuff in place. As I said, right now, the only thing you really have are your logo sketches and then some digital depictions of what some of your screens might look like. I also recommend in these kind of digital renderings, I would do these yourself, because right now these have watermarks in them. The watermark is indicative of something that is being used without consent. So if you buy a version of something that has a watermark, the watermark will be removed. But otherwise, we can't use, because that points to compromised copyright ramifications. And we don't want to do that. Okay, so I would definitely render these out yourself. Yep. Okay, so at this point, it's really, really important that you let me know if you have any questions, or if I can assist you in understanding exactly what it's doing and in what sequence, etc. So please get with me quickly if I can make any, if I can clarify anything, any of the things I've said in the last 8 minutes or so. Okay, Marcus, thank you very much. And again, really important to get with me any questions. All right, great, thank you.